All right, so there are countless areas that fall within what we call, quote unquote, sport law. And I've given you a couple of them with like property law and antitrust law and business formation law. But let me just cover a couple of them, just right off the top of my head, just some ideas to give you the feel for what's out there. Tax law, as an example. You have taxes that people have to pay. Now, there are certain cities that tax professional athletes when they come to that city. And they'll meet you at the airport and they'll demand a check there. And they'll base it upon how many games you play throughout the entire season, how many practice days do you have, divide that up equally and say, okay, you came to Philadelphia, which is one city that has this. You're an NFL player. You have, let's say, 16 regular season games, 3 preseason games. You have X number of practice days, let's say 100 practice days, and then let's divide that up. So when you came here, you're earning $30 million a year. When you came to our town to work this game, you earned $400,000, or whatever it is that they come up with. And they'll demand tax payment on that $400,000. So tax could be a critical area, because there are some people who didn't want to play in certain cities because they owed so much in back taxes to that city, and the city can only collect if you're in that city. So that becomes a cat and mouse game for some athletes. And there are some athletes who obviously haven't paid taxes in a long time. So taxes become an issue also with any sales, like you have, if you're a major facility, you have sales tax, you might have a season ticket holder tax, you might have a PSL tax, you might have a tax on individual game tickets, you might have beer sale, all these different taxes that apply to all these different things. You gotta collect them and process them and make sure you follow the law as it relates to taxes. You also have on the other side, let's say bankruptcy law is one of the areas that's covered in the sport context, because you have sport organizations that go bankrupt. A famous sport bankruptcy is Kurt Schilling right now, who started this company to make video games, and he put all this money, got all this money from the state, was it Rhode Island? I'm trying to remember, I think it was Rhode Island, that he got money from the state to help create the company and to expand and hire people, and it went bankrupt. And now he's dealing with that issue. Teams have gone bankrupt. Can you guys think of a team that recently went bankrupt? Hockey has a number of them. Atlanta, I don't know. I know the one in Arizona went bankrupt. And you think Thrashers might have? They might have. I don't remember. One of the most famous ones was Pittsburgh Penguins. And do you know who they owed the most amount of money to? Mario Lemieux, their star player. And that's why he's the owner of the team, because they owed him so many millions of dollars that he had to go and what is he going to do? He has no one to get the money from, so he took the team. And you might have a combination of these things. People might declare bankruptcy to try avoiding some of their taxes, or they might be playing to get their taxes paid for because they're going broke. This happened as an example for Tony Dorsett, that he played his last year for the Dallas Cowboys with them agreeing to pay back taxes that Tony Dorsett owed to the IRS for entering into tax shelter investments that went bad, and he owed all this money. So you can have this confluence of doing well, doing bad, things like that, and how does law fit in there? That's just an example. And bankruptcy law is a very unique area of law. We're really not going to cover it in great detail in this class, but it's something to think about, because everyone can declare bankruptcy every 7 years if you want to. You can't extinguish all your debts. You're allowed to keep some things. So you might have some people that you're allowed in certain states, as an example, to keep your residence. So if you are in Florida or Texas, you could buy a $50 million home, declare bankruptcy, they cannot touch your home, because that's called your homestead. And so some people, when they know they're going to be going bankrupt or something else, they'll try buying. Now, it has to be, you have to have a year between when you made that purchase or when you pay someone money to try hiding it or whatever. So when you declare bankruptcy, if it occurs in that year, they could try clawing back and getting that money back. But you have people that plan this out and say, look, I know my business is going under. I'm going to buy a beautiful house in Miami Beach or something else like that, and then live there. After bankruptcy is over, sell the place, buy a small place, and have all this cash, and that's perfectly legal. Other places, it's a little bit more complex, like Montana. I think you're only allowed 3 things: your mule, your shotgun, and a Bible, and that's it. So every state is different in terms of what they allow under the bankruptcy estate that we have, and that's all judged by courts. And you could have personal bankruptcy versus business bankruptcy. So that just is another example of the kinds of laws that are out there. Basically anything that you could think of, from trademark laws, patent laws, which will cover under contract law. You'll have employment law. You'll have government-related issues, government laws and regulations, things like that. All these are different types of laws that are out there.